Hey YouTube. So I am back. Yes, tonight was day before Valentine's Day episode. The Has and the Have Nots, season 5 episode. What episode is this? 6. Now let me tell you, this episode was titled Hannah's Tea, but Hannah did not come until 42 minutes into the episode. So I didn't quite get that, but it was a decent episode for what it was. Anywho, but before we get into it, I gotta go right back into my new spiel. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. You guys are really supporting me. I'm super happy about that. I'm getting more and more subscribers every day. For you returning subscribers, thank you so much. I love you. And if you're new, join the family and click that subscribe button. Okay, but anywho, before we get into the review, y'all, I'm nerding it out today with these glasses because my eye is randomly red. I don't know, I haven't been smoking or anything. I don't know what's wrong with my eye, but it's red, but we're going to get through this. Okay, so it starts off where it left off. Of course, there's a tussle back and forth between Wyatt and Justin in Wyatt's house. Justin is over there as the jealous boyfriend who's like really not a boyfriend, but he's just obsessed. And of course, they're tussling back and forth. We don't know what's going to happen, okay? So what happens next only happens in Tyler Perry land because Jim Cryer comes out of nowhere and pops into Wyatt's house. Now, mind you, why would he just conveniently be there? The last time we saw Jim in last week's episode, he was in his hotel room getting down with the get down with Sarah. So why in the world, whatever. I don't even ask questions. I just go with it. So Jim comes in and he tries to break them up, and all along Justin is yelling, "Stay away from Jeffrey. Don't call him anymore. Don't call him." Jim is like, "Who are you? What's your name?" And then Justin is completely ignoring him and talking to Wyatt. "Stay away from him." Jim is like, "You know what? I don't need your name, okay? Because I have your badge number and you will pay for this." I'm like, okay, so now we got Jim against Justin and we got David against Justin. Hopefully Justin gets taken down, but who knows? Because Justin is turning a little too crazy. But anywho, so then Justin leaves out. At this point, Jim is all confused. What is he talking about? Why does he keep saying, don't call Jeffrey again? Wyatt, is there something you need to tell me? Is something going on between you and Jeffrey? I mean, if you have feelings for him, you could let me know because he's a pretty attractive guy, which he is. But then she's like, not she, but then Wyatt is like, "You know what? Just get out, get out. I don't want you here. Leave. I'm not talking to you about anything." He was like, "Actually, you do need to talk to me, okay? Because look, I'm here because I love you and I need you to not talk to the DA because I don't need these charges to go through." And he's like, "Why? What? Are you going to kill me too? I'm going to talk to him. I'm taking this all the way. I don't want anything to do with you or Mom. You guys keep barging in." And Jim is like, "Look, I'm coming here for you, not for me. Do you think I'm scared of you?" And so Wyatt is like, "Yeah, you're scared to be in jail." And he's like, "No, that's the least of my worries. As a parent, I'm concerned about you because I know that you're on drugs." Wyatt is like, "I'm not on drugs, I'm clean." And Jim is like, "Okay, but for how long are you clean? Okay? I feel as though if we end up in jail and we're not able to baby you and check on you at all times and make sure you're okay, you have that much money. First of all, you're going to go broke. You spent $2 million on your place that is worth $700,000. Plus, Jim's family owns the business. I'm sure Wyatt could have got in there free of charge. But instead he spent $2 million. He was like, "Next thing you know, you'll be out on the street. You'll be scraping up pennies and pencils just to get your next drug hit." No. And then he's like, "It's not going to end good for you. I'm telling you. Me and your mom have been protecting you your whole life." Wyatt claims he don't need protecting, okay? If he has to take this all the way to the Supreme Court, that is what he'll do. He's going to speak against them any chance he gets because he wants nothing to do with them. Which, of course, we know he's still really bitter, and he mainly blames his parents for the things that he's gone through in life that caused him to even dip into this drug life. So then Jim is like, "You know what? Fine. Just remember this conversation we're having when you have to come crawling back home to me and your mother." And then so Wyatt is like, "What are you talking about? There is no home to crawl back to." Jim was like, just remember this. And Wyatt was like, I will never come crawling back to you guys. Don't underestimate me. And Jim was like, don't underestimate your father. And we all know Wyatt is going to end up coming crawling back. So we will have to remember this conversation. Okay, anyways. So then we get to Veronica. Veronica's in the hospital. The doctor walks in the hospital room, basically informs her that she doesn't have like any like internal issues like with a car crash or anything, no internal bleeding. Nothing is messed up. She just simply is sore because she's bruised up. So he offers her pain medicine. She's like, no, 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 none of that. And at this point, I'm a little concerned. Like, she was really adamant about not having any pain pills. And I wonder if that's something that maybe she struggled with in the past. I believe in previous seasons, they've alluded to the fact that maybe she was alcoholic at one point. So maybe pills were another kind of like, demon of hers. I don't know, but I feel like that was said for a reason. So maybe that'll come back up. But whatever the case, the doctor lets her know, like, look, I can discharge you, no problem. And she's like, great, okay? Because I got to get home to my hero, Benny, okay? And so before the doctor leaves out, he's like, hey, there's actually a police officer waiting outside the room. Do you mind speaking with the officer about your accident before you leave? She's like, let her in, no problem. Okay, so the police officer's name is Officer Delaney. So Officer Delaney comes in to question Veronica. Well, when she comes in, Veronica's attitude automatically turns on. She's like, you're late, okay? Where were you when I was being ran off the road? And she's like, so the officer's like, so this was done intentionally. She's like, girl, duh, okay? It was a black truck that ran me off the road. And so Officer Delaney is like, well, do you have any enemies? She was like, girl, first of all, I am the Veronica, the Ice Queen herself. My own family hates me, okay? Like, why would I not have enemies? Of course, everybody else hates me. But really, on the episode, she said, I am a lawyer. I have a lot of enemies. Duh. Like, do your research. So at this point, she's just like, this officer is a waste of my time. The officer's asking her if she knows anything else. Veronica's super short with her. Like, I don't know anything else. But if I do, I'll call your boss because you're a waste of my time. Veronica. Oh, Veronica. So the officer just kind of like shakes her head and was like, okay, well, thank you for answering my questions. And then Veronica was like, okay, you can get out. I have to get dressed to go home. So before she gets dressed to go home, of course, she tries to call Benny. Well, Benny doesn't pick up the phone because Benny's a little tied up right now with Melissa, okay? So he must have put his phone on vibrate or something, or maybe it's going straight to voicemail. I don't know, but we all know why he can't answer. So she leaves a voicemail letting him know that, hey, I'm getting discharged. I'm on my way to the house. Okay, so we will see what happens with this in a minute here. Okay, so next thing you know, we see David at the station. He's walked like out of like the interrogation room back into the main holding area. He looks super stressed out at this point. Like, how am I going to get Jeffrey out of jail? So then he decides to just buckle down and call Veronica. Now, despite her being into an accident, he doesn't care about how Veronica is at this point. He's like, Veronica, I can't believe this. You've gone too far. We need to get him out of jail. He is not going to make it in there. He is cracking. He is breaking down. And so Veronica is like, yeah, so I was in an accident and I'm okay. And he was like I said, we need to get our son out of jail. You went way too far this time. So then Veronica is like, well, look, if he wants to be with the boys, then jail is the perfect place for him then. Veronica is like so unbothered when she is having this conversation with her soon-to-be ex-husband about their son being in jail. So then David is like, are you serious? You've gone way too far. You can't control him. And she was like, oh, don't believe me? Just watch. Yes, I can control him. I've been controlling him all this time. He just keeps pushing my limits. And if he wants to play that game, well, then two can play this game. Then she's like, he's like, you're crazy. She's like, yeah, I've heard that a million times. I'm aware. And then so he's like, you need to drop the charges. Go to the DA, drop the charges because that's our son. And she was like, he just doesn't listen. So, no, I'm not going to do it. Okay, so then David is persistent on get him out of jail, get him out of jail, get him out of jail. Veronica is like, I don't care. He's not getting out. and hangs up the phone in David's face. So then when David's phone hangs up, like 10 seconds later, he gets a call back on his phone. And he answers the phone and starts going off like, you witch, I can't believe you did this, this, and that. Now, he said witch. Well, he didn't say witch. We know what he said, but whatever. I can't believe you did this and that. You've gone too far. And I'm thinking, David, why would you think that Verona hung up on you just to call right back 10 seconds later? Typically, when someone hangs up on you, you're the one that's calling them back, right? Right. But whatever. It was Erica on the other line, and she's like, oh, wait, hold up. This is Erica. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And she's like, are you okay? He's like, I'm fine. It's just a lot of stuff going on. And then she's like, well, what's going on? You said, is it another woman? He's like, oh no. She's like, are you sure? Because the way you picked up the phone, it sounded like it was another woman. He was like, just my ex-wife and my son. He's very vague with the details. That part of David is pretty smart. He keeps on his judge hat at all times. He knows not to give out too many details. He likes Erica and all, but he can't just trust her like with precious family business like that. So the conversation is cut short. She wants to see when he's coming home. He doesn't really know because he's trying to get his son out. Okay. So next thing you know, David walks back into like where the police officers actually work, walks up to Justin's desk and asks if he can speak with him regarding his relationship with Jeffrey. And then he's like, Justin is like, there's nothing to talk about. And then David is like, look, I know my son's gay. And then he's like, okay, but I'm not. So then David is like, okay, so we're not going to play this game because I know that you clearly are and you had a relationship of some sort with my son. Bottom line, I read a police report on Quincy when they found his body in Candace's backyard that my son is entangled with, and I read that you were there. And then Justin was like, yeah, I was one of the officers on the case. And he's like, great. So you've made this even easier for me at this point. This is what you're going to do. You're going to leave my son alone, okay? Or I'm going to make you look worse. Let me say exactly what he said, okay? Leave my son alone. I will ruin you. I will make you look worse than a detective on the OJ trial. And we're like, that's pretty bad, okay? He was like, I will make you look like a psychotic, jealous lover. I will pin all this on you and make you look worse than what you already look in this situation. Bottom line, leave Jeffrey alone. And then so Justin isn't saying anything because at this point he's kind of like, dang, I usually have a comeback and I'm usually not scared, but he has a point. So in Justin's mind, I know all he's thinking is, okay, cool. I killed his mama. I'll kill him too. Because at this point, Justin thinks that Veronica is dead, although she's not. He will be pretty shocked to see her. Anyway, so then David gets up like, well, I said what I had to say, and you're going to leave my son alone. Gets up, but then he's shocked. He can't even be like proud in this moment because he's caught off guard when he sees Candace being walked back in handcuffs to the jail by like a lady in a dress that's clearly an undercover police officer. And then Justin notices this too. So he's like, what is going on? They both automatically assume it has something to do with Quincy's body when really it doesn't at all. Okay, so next thing you know, Candace is walked back there. I'm wondering why is she being walked through the men's section of the jail, but the lady just has her take a seat and the lady goes to go like do something in another room and has Candace just sit there. Okay, so then conveniently, it's right outside of Jeffrey's cell. So then Jeffrey is like, Candace, what, she got you in here too? She had you arrested? And then Candace is like, no, but I see what she's done to you. And so Jeffrey is like, I can't be in here. This is too much for me. I'm going to lose it. And Candace is like, hey, don't say too much. Yeah, but you know what I did. And Candace is like, hey, you're talking too much. Stop talking. Just calm down. Be chill. And then she's like, where's your dad? Is he going to help you out of this? And then he's like, yeah, he's trying to get me out of here. But, I just can't take it in here. I can't even take it another hour. And I'm like, Jeffrey, suck it up, okay? You did, even if it was self-defense or you were trying to help Candace, you did kill somebody, okay? Don't act like you're just so weak, okay? Tough it out, okay? So then Candace is like, stop talking. I am confident that your dad is going to get you out of here. So then she's like, just be cool. And then Jeffrey is like, what did he say? Oh, Candace said, if we play this right, then we'll both be fine. And Jeffrey is like, that's easy for you to say because you're not in here yet. And she's like, what do you mean yet? And he's like, first of all, I'm not going down for all of this, okay? Because I didn't do this by myself. And she's like, calm down. Stop talking. She kind of looks at him sideways, but then in this moment, she needs to keep him calm. I hope Candace is thinking in the back of her mind, like, Jeffrey will turn on you, like, with the quickness, okay? Like, if he is under pressure, he's going to crack and be like, I can't do this. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm sure Candace is a smart girl. I'm sure she's considering that as well. So then she's telling him, don't panic, just calm down. If he panics, he'll start like singing like a bird. So whatever. The woman comes back to get Candace to walk her out. Okay, so now we go to Veronica's house. Mitch just is getting tired of sitting there waiting. He walks upstairs to get Benny. Well, when he's upstairs, he hears noise coming out of the room. It's clearly noise of somebody getting down and dirty. And there's only 2 other people in the house. So, Mitch, what made you open up the door? Mitch opened up the door and then was like taken back. Like, oh man, shoot. Because he saw them in the middle of the action. And I'm like, Mitch, like you heard it outside the door. Like you opened the door because you wanted to open the door. But whatever. Melissa is not ashamed at this point. She's just like, oh, hey, we have company. Melissa's all over the place, y'all. So then Benny is like, shut the door, shut the door. Then Mitch is like, okay, well, you need to hurry up so we can leave. Whatever. He walks downstairs. At this point, like, Mitch is sitting on the couch like, I don't know what is going on in this place, but we got to get out of here. So then, perfect timing, Veronica walks inside. Remember, she's been discharged from the hospital. So luckily, she can't walk upstairs because she's in like a little bit of pain. So she doesn't immediately go upstairs. So he's like, hey, have a seat. She asks where Benny is. And Mitch is like, Benny's upstairs. Mitch is basically trying to distract Veronica. So he convinces her to sit down and he'll go upstairs and get Benny. So then he goes upstairs, walks into the room while Benny and Melissa are doing the do, and they're like, get out. And he's like, look, Veronica is here, okay? Mayday, mayday, cut the show. And so Benny like jumps up like, oh my gosh, and like starts putting on his clothes. And then Melissa's like, no, you need to finish. I'm like, this girl is nuts. And then so Benny was like, no, this was a mistake. This shouldn't have happened. And I'm like, dang, how quickly you turn on the girl, okay? So then Melissa looks at Mitch and was like, well, how about you? Okay, since he didn't finish, you can finish. You're looking good. And I'm like, Melissa is the definition, like, of a pass around. Like, and she's going to pass herself around. Like, nobody even has to pass her around. She's like this. Yeah, Melissa, but we have to remember, like, she's been through a lot mentally, and maybe her normal self wouldn't have acted like this, but at this point, Veronica has driven her crazy, so she's just doing any and everything and everybody at this point. So he gets on his clothes, straightens out his clothes, goes downstairs to Veronica, and it's like, hey, you look so good. You look so beautiful to be home from the hospital. Like, he's just going above and beyond because he doesn't want to be caught at this point. And I'm like, Benny, stop, okay? Because, she's in love with you. And she's like, oh, thank you so much. And he's like, okay, yeah, well, we're going to have to go. And then all of a sudden, Melissa comes downstairs in the silk robe and in the heels. And Veronica's like, girl, you need to put on some clothes. So Melissa says, oh, well, you like when I wear this. You told me to wear this. And then Veronica says, yes, for my son. And then she's like, girl, don't even get me started because your son don't want this. And so Veronica is just like taken aback because usually Melissa is not like this, like mouthy with her. But at this point, Melissa has a lot of lip. So like they're just challenging each other back and forth. And you can tell that Veronica is being like very overprotective of Benny at this point. What's her face? Melissa's like, well, Benny, we still need to finish. And she was going to say it. And Veronica was like, no, you're not doing anything. You're going to go upstairs. That's when Melissa like refuses to go upstairs at this point. Then Melissa's like, wait, why are you so overprotective over him? Then she's like, no way. Did that really... Like, what? Like, this really happened? Like, did something really go down? And then Mitch is like, look, we gotta go. We gotta go to that meeting we're supposed to go to. Just like making up an excuse to get out. And so Benny is like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. So whatever. Melissa is on a roll and they had to get out of that conversation. But Veronica asked Benny, before he leaves, can he take her upstairs to her room? So he takes her upstairs. While he's taking her up there, Melissa literally jumps on Mitch and is trying to seduce him. And Mitch is like, you just got down with my boy. And she's like, so, okay, like, I'm a private person. Like, don't worry. I won't tell what I did with Benny, just like I won't tell what I do with you. And he's like, negative. And like goes outside, okay? Because at this point, he's no longer attracted to her. Like, she's literally throwing herself at them. So whatever. Benny is upstairs. Veronica asks to be tucked in. He even like takes off her shoes for her. And she is just like, you're my hero. You're my hero. She said that like 4 times this episode at least. So you can tell she's like really like mesmerized by him at this point because she feels like he saved her life, which he did. But then she's like 2 weeks, so she's like, can you please come back tomorrow or tonight? Hopefully I'll feel better, whatever. And so Benny says yes. Benny is stupid, but whatever. So Benny leaves out, goes out into the hall. Melissa is like, you can come into my room and we can finish. And he's like, dude, you're crazy. Like, get out of my way. Like, no. And she's like, we'll finish a different day. Okay, so he goes outside. He's telling Mitch, like, Mitch is laughing. Like, this is some crazy stuff that's happening. And so he's like, you know what, dude, just drive. Like, she's looking up through the window right now. And Veronica is literally acting like an obsessed schoolgirl that is like, Benny, don't leave me. Whatever. So they decide to drive away. So Benny, he has a lot on his plate at this point. I don't know how he's going to juggle the two. Okay. So they leave. Next thing you know, we see Hanna 42 minutes into the episode. 42, okay? The episode is called Hanna's Tea, and we did not get to Hanna's tea until the episode was almost over. But anyways, this will be quick because this scene was forever, okay? But basically, Hanna drives up to Catherine's house. Catherine shows her around the house. Then she introduces her to her new maid, Joanne. And coincidentally, Joanne is black. Like, Catherine, why do all your helpers have to be black? Like, is that just a coincidence? Like, Hanna was your black maid. What's her face? I forgot her name, but she was like Hispanic or something. She was like another minority maid, and now you have another black maid, and then Derek is like fixes the stuff around your house, and he's black. I mean, I'm not insinuating nothing. I'm just saying it's a coincidence. But whatever. So then all of a sudden Derek comes out of nowhere, and Hanna was like, is this the setup? And he's like, Catherine is like, no, he's actually here to fix some stuff. We all know it was a setup. And Catherine comes up with some excuse for her and Joanne to go upstairs and leaves Hanna and Derek there alone and asks Hanna to make some tea for them. So Hanna is like difficult with Derek in the beginning, but then she basically says you know what? We can count this as our dinner date, okay? She was like, Catherine thinks she's slick, and then he was like, I told her that you denied me, but she still was persistent. Whatever. Hanna is like still real standoffish from him, and Derek is like, look, you don't want to talk about your life? I'll talk about mine. I have 3 boys. They're in college. I was married for 30-some years. My wife passed away. It's just a lot. I mean, I go to my church. He started talking about church, and Hanna perked up like, oh, well, I go to this church. Like, that's all that he needs to say was church. And she's like, yes, you have sent me my husband. So coincidentally, Derek is like, he's like, yeah, honestly, I've been so persistent because I'm lonely. And so Hannah's like, how are you lonely? I'm sure an attractive man like you could find somebody down at the church. He's like, look, I'm old fashioned, okay? They are like chasing after me, and I want to chase after who I'm going for, okay? Men are predators, women are prey. When they're coming to me like that, that's not attractive, which I agree with, but whatever. And so Hanna is like, what? He's quoting Bible scriptures and he's like, a man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. And she's like, yes, honey, I am that good thing. Okay. She didn't say that, but that's what she was thinking in her head. And she like was like, oh, you got my attention. Wait, how much did Catherine tell you about me? And he was like, to be honest, I feel like I know your whole life. But whatever. I am interested though. How about this? If this like tea date goes well, then maybe we can meet again outside of her house. She's like, okay, deal. And then proceeds to serve the tea. Okay. So, last, certainly not least, the woman finally places Candace into her cell, and coincidentally, her cellmate is Quita Maxwell, Quincy's sister. So, Quita is so happy because she feels like Candace is in jail for killing her brother, and Candace is like, this is not why I'm here. And so, Quita keeps like taunting her, and I know you killed my brother, and wah, 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 wah. Candace is like, no, I didn't. Just shut your mouth. Deny, 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 deny. So then Quita is like, look, you know what? Life is funny because what goes around comes around. And she's like, don't even go there. And we know that she's referring to little Quincy dying. So then she says, that's funny. You killed my brother and then your son comes up getting killed, getting shot in a bathroom. And I'm like, how does she know that he was shot in a bathroom? Like, did they say all these details on the news? Or, like, how is Quita, like, how is she in the know of that? Just like Jim knows more information about the bullet skipping Hanna and going to little Quincy. I hope this comes out in the story sometime soon, but this is really interesting. So, whatever. And then, they just keep going back and forth. Candace literally hates her, and Quita like broke the straw on the camel's back when she started to talk about little Quincy, and Candace couldn't help it. She literally charged at her and proceeded to like beat the mess out of her. And Quita has so much lip, but she has no no fight in her. Like she didn't even like attempt to fight back. And Candace is getting the best of her at this point, and the episode goes off. So we shall see what happens next week. If you've made it this far in the video, you may as well go ahead and subscribe if you're not a part of the family. Join the family, okay? On my road to 1,000 subscribers, share, subscribe, like, comment, and check me out at mrsblogaholic.com. Bye.